So, Smackdown just got over, and for me, it was a 2.5 out of 5 Smackdown. I didn't really like it, even though I liked what happened with Cena at the end, his pipe bomb promo. But even then, it's just the structure of the show. They could have structured this show much better. They could have utilized their existing resources which they had on the show much better, according to me. Let's start with the how let's start with the most notable thing which happened on the show, which was the Cena promo, and it was essentially a reverse pipe bomb on Punk. Starting with, I was to say, he essentially said what all the voices of wrestling, or like the AEW fans who don't really like Punk have been saying. He was like regurgitating their points. Like, it was very funny to me that he was regurgitating the AEW fans points while telling CM Punk that he regurgitates his own promos. Like, he he's like how Cena has been called, like he has five moves of doom his whole career. Like, he said that you have five microphone moves of doom. They're like, it's always a mixture of all five usual stuff you usually say. And he also said that, that you you call yourself the voice of the voiceless, but you're a millionaire, you're a capitalist. So like uh, you try to be a punk, but you're a millionaire. Like, you're not the same person. like uh, you say that you're against TK. You're not against TK. You're Mr. TK because they cut your balls. Like, referring to him going to Saudi, like him even returning to the WWE, him main eventing night one of WrestleMania, where he actually like called out like WWE when he was in a program against MJF, that main eventing night one of extravaganza and everything. And and he also said that you were best in the world for 7 minutes, and 7 minutes 14 years ago. I've been the greatest of all time for 25 years. I think whatever he said in the promo was really good. The way they set it up, I thought that why are they using a table? It doesn't make sense. Like, they used a table last week also. Why does this segment need a table? Or they're going to do the uh, oh, they're gonna set up a table, but R-Truth is gonna spear Cena through the table. But that didn't happen. Like, Cena put Punk through the table. They got their sponsorship done, but also used it in a storyline. So I won't really you know attack them on this, because they had Cena do the pipe bomb. Like, he said, "Oh, you have stepped on all people throughout your career to get to the top," which I don't think is true. But I do think that he has stepped on people's heads, but that's mainly because of like personal reasons, or like his personal conflicts. And he called out, Claudio Castagnoli, Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth, Claudio, who is in Ada. And there was a loud reaction when he said Claudio's name. Like, there was not that big reaction when he said like Matt Cardona's and Nick Nemeth's name, but when he said Claudio, like, people looked like, oh, like people really remembered that Cesaro is Claudio Castagnoli. And that is probably the loudest cheer like Claudio Castagnoli has gotten since his debut on AEW. And what one thing is that the crowd is not booing CM Punk, but they're not booing when Cena is saying all this shit about CM Punk. Like, what you expect from this heel Cena is, like, this was a really great heel promo. Like, you could see that Cena was locked in this promo. Like, the last 10 minutes, the way he was saying, the expressions that he had on his face, like, you could tell that he was into this. All the Elvis line in the at the last, like him saying a swear word, saying that, oh, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Oh, I said a swear word. USA, I'm not going to be here for the last 2.5 minutes. So, uh, you know, because Elvis has left the building. The crowd was cheering for Cena when he was like, I'm the GOAT and I am the greatest of all time. That is the problem. Like, you want to have Cody win the title, But then the thing is, it's his last year, so even if Cena stinks, they're still gonna cheer for him. That's the thing. Like, if Punk is across Cena, they're not gonna boo Punk, but they're not gonna boo Cena either. So that's the kind of problem that they have here. Because Cody is eventually gonna take that title. Either Cody takes it, or Seth cashes in. Something like that happens. But the thing is, they have to do some Travis Scott shenanigan stuff. Like, they have to get Travis Scott there and do like the finish quick that Cody Rhodes, like Travis Scott tries to interfere, but then he accidentally hits Cena, and then Cody hits both of them with crossroads, and you end it immediately. Because if you linger on, Cody will get boost. Like, you have Punk, who is arguably the biggest baby face in WWE right now, like maybe after Cody. Like, Punk doesn't get booed nowhere, and he didn't get booed here. But when Cena was calling him all that stuff, Cena was not getting booed either. I think if this was not Cena's last year, if it was not announced that this is going to be his retirement tour, like there was just like like it was just like unsaid, people would have still turned on Cena. Like, they could have, knowing that he's gonna be here, but just because he is here, I think it's very, very difficult, and I think they do have to turn Cena babyface somehow, and they can do it. Like, when the Cody program starts, like, you can have Cena come back to this and be like, yeah. And one thing that I also didn't like R-Truth kind of felt like an afterthought. I thought that what would happen with R-Truth will be involved and you do like a second pipe bomb, but that didn't happen. So in a way, it feels like, because earlier in the night it was supposed to be Alistair Black versus what, Kip Jinson, whatever, the one of Pretty Deadly. But what happened was R-Truth came out. He gave an STFU to one half of the Pretty Deadly, and Alistair Black was like, huh, what? There was a backstage segment where where Black confronted R-Truth, because it was Joey or Joey Mercury who actually like calmed R-Truth out and took him out of the ring. And this kind of like shows what R-Truth's character is right now in WWE, which is that he he is there, like he's done taking bullshit, like he's done being the funny guy, but he is also listening to reason, because he's not a bad guy. He listens to when people actually try to reason with him and are respectful to him. And that's what you saw with Jamie or Joey, whoever it was. And that's what happened. Black was like, why are you interfering in my matches? Like, he was like, nothing to do with you. I just want people to respect me. I just want John Cena. Then Damien Priest came there and he was like, he's just going through a lot. R-Truth, you go there, beat Cena, and we'll celebrate after. Like, Priest is a real one. Then they had a funny moment where it was like, okay, Ron, and R-Truth was like, oh, Black. So that was funny. But apart from that, it kind of feels like the presentation of R-Truth has been a little bit confusing to me, because he calls himself Ron Killings but comes out to R-Truth's music and a Titan Drum. He has the nameplate R-Truth. The announcers call him R-Truth. I mean, Priest calls him Truth. So you could do it Ron Killings, right? You could do the Truth Has Set Me Free and he just comes out to no music, or maybe he comes out to some Truth Shall Set Me Free, and he has a lot of his tracks. He can come out to new music as well. It kind of feels like they're setting up Black versus Truth, maybe, or for what I think, it can lead to a Priest and Black feud as well, because it kind of felt like Jacob was going after Damon Priest, but those plans got changed. And they're doing the Jacob versus Solo match this early. I thought that this would happen at SummerSlam. I think they would have extended it to SummerSlam. Like, this could still go till SummerSlam, because this is their first match. You're gonna have interference from JC Mateo, probably Tama Tonga Tangalo will come back. probably both of them will come back in some time, because Tangaloa has been out since what, Survivor Series. So both of them will eventually come back. We could see them, both of them, come back at Night of Champions. Like, I won't be surprised if they actually make Solo like the United States champion, have him be the champion maybe till SummerSlam, have Jacob take the title back. But I don't think they will do that. Like, Jacob has so much momentum right now. So like, he was getting far too chants in his entrance, even during the promo. Like, bloodline lore is kind of like, how long will this go? But people are really into it, and people are really into especially Jacob Fatu, and that has helped Solo Sikoa too, because there were times where Solo was just boring. Like, it was not helping in the ratings after a while. At the start, first few months, it was like going well for them, but then it did fell down. But Jacob being there has helped Solo too. Like, Solo has found himself. Though I do think what's gonna happen is, like, I do think there has to be some Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, them coming back there, maybe them helping Jacob, or them turning on Jacob, leading to Solo winning. But do you really want Solo to be the first guy to beat Jacob? I don't know. I because later in the night, like, because you had Solo trying to give his finisher, but then Jacob stopped him. He attacked him. Then JC and them jumped him. Then Jimmy comes out, and I'm like, one thing is, this also doesn't make sense. I get why Jimmy will attack Solo and JC Mateo, because they have been beefing for weeks. But why would he save Jacob? Like, Jacob has been, like, kicking his ass since he has come to the WWE. Like, Jimmy returned in the Solo and Jacob versus Roman and Cody match. It wouldn't make sense for him to just forget about it. And it did feel like he hasn't just forget about it, because they were like staring at each other. Like, I could see this going further. Like, maybe you have Jacob defend the title against Jimmy Uso, maybe later at Saturday Night's main event, or maybe you like build a big program. Maybe you end this Solo stuff early. You have a big program. Maybe you try to see how Jimmy fits in. Maybe you do a Jacob and Jimmy program at some time. But I do think it's going to be just 1 week. Probably next week you're going to have Jacob and uh, Jacob and Jimmy versus Solo and Mateo, and probably Solo and Mateo will win, giving them like the edge going into Night of Champions. They're probably gonna have Solo and Mateo beat up Jimmy Uso. I think that's what's gonna happen. So it looks like the card is set now, because at the starting of the show, you had Asuka versus Alexa Bliss as well. You had a kind of a awkward, weird segment of LA Knight and Paul Heyman, where it essentially was LA Knight wanted Seth Rollins, and he was, tired of all this, that I attack Braun, they attack me, so I want them. But then Paul Heyman comes out and he's like, if you stay here in this city for the till the end of the night, something bad is gonna happen to you. And LA was like, if Seth Rollins is not here, like, you face me. But then the Bronze come out, and they try to attack him, but then LA brings out a chair, he stands tall, which is fine. But I'm like, have you guys looked at yourself? Like, Bronson is worth three people. Braun Breaker, like, if he just runs, like, he can kill two people easily. So he has like one chair in his hand. Why are you so afraid of him? Like, one can go from the back, one can go from the front. Paul Heyman can jump on top of him. Like, why are you scared of a guy with a chair? It doesn't make sense to me. So that was a little bit awkward, but fine. You have LA standing tall. You had Asuka versus Alexa Bliss, which was much better than I expected, because I don't really expect Alexa Bliss to have like great matches. And also you had like Asuka, like 43-year-old Asuka, which has just come back. but they had a really solid match, and in the end, Asuka won clean, which I didn't expect. I thought it would involve some Charlotte shenanigans, but Asuka won quick. Only one thing, one spot was a little bit iffy. Like Alexa had Asuka there, she could have gone for the Twisted Bliss, but she didn't, because what the commentators said, because Asuka was trying to play possum, because she was doing it in the match like earlier times, like it would look like Asuka is actually not in a good position, but suddenly she will be there. So it kind of made sense, but I don't know, for the live crowd I don't think it made sense. It was just like she was just standing on the top. Maybe like Asuka was a little bit far away, but then she just like stood down, came in the ring, and in the end, Asuka hit it with what, the Empress touch or whatever. But she didn't hit the finish. I don't think Alexa took the finish first. She had her hands on her face, and also I don't think Asuka really hit her. But in the end, Asuka won, and she is in the finals. Then Asuka goes to like Joey Tessitore's and Wade Barrett's like announcer table and says something like nobody's ready for Asuka. I'm glad that Asuka is in the finals. I This makes me actually like very excited for what's going to happen on Monday, because now that Liv is injured, they can easily have Roxanne win the win, or at least go till the finals of the Queen of the Ring, and you can have Roxanne being like, okay, Liv is not there. Look at me. I went to the final. I was in the final stretch of the Royal Rumble also. I lasted 1 hour. I'm the women's tag team champions also. I went to the finals. Maybe I won, maybe I didn't, but I still went there. The thing is, it does seem like it's probably going to be Jade, because Naomi is firmly involved in like the Naya and Tiffany stuff, and and also that is firmly involved there, and it doesn't look, they have not had any interaction, so I don't see why Naomi will just suddenly attack Jade. Though if she attacks her, they can always retrospectively like say that Naomi is just crazy, because her character is just that she is crazy, and she doesn't want anyone to like like Jade to get on the top. But I do see probably what is going to happen next week is Jade versus Roxanne. I think earlier in the night, maybe Nikki is going to be there next week, I think. So I think she was supposed to be there this week too. She wasn't. But then maybe you get Nikki next week, you have some kind of like confrontation. In the end, Rhea or Nikki, or maybe both, like interfere in that Jade Roxanne match, and then you have Jade win that match. And then you have Jade versus Asuka. I do think they're probably gonna have Jade win, so to give like Jade, like giving Jade the Queen of the Ring, and also giving her the rub from like a veteran like Asuka. You give Jade that, and you set up a Tiffany versus Jade match at SummerSlam. The only problem with that is that are you gonna have like a cash in at SummerSlam? I do think that's probably the plan. But then, and also like this shows how creatively bankrupt they also are. Like Tiffany's only title defenses after WrestleMania are going to be against Nia Jax. Like we should have seen it coming. Like when Nia used that chair, but she got hit by it instead. They were setting up another Tiffany versus Nia match, which is boring to me, because this is what their second singles match. Tiffany already beat her. It felt like they should move on from it, but rather than that, they're doing it again. I like one thing that they at least mentioned. Naya at least mentioned that, yeah, like you used a chair against me and all that. And people saying that it doesn't make sense. Of course, a heel would say this. Of course, a heel would admit that they brought the chair in. So it kind of makes sense. But I'm like, why? Like you would have done stuff with Tiffany. Like Alexa Bliss is so over right now, right? You could have like done like a mini Tiffany Alexa feud. Like I predicted that Trish would come back, but it looks like probably Trish would come back after Night of Champions. because you're having two Night of Champions, because you're having three titles being defended at Night of Champions, and you're having three titles defended next week on SmackDown too. You're having Street Profits versus Wyatt Six. You have Zelina versus Julia, who were supposed to have a segment which they set up last week, which they didn't. I don't know why. Like, I get why they showed like the CM Punk Yin and Yang John Cena promo package, which I didn't like the yin and yang stuff. Like, I like that they showed their history, but I don't know, with Corey Graves' voice and the yin and yang, I don't know, it didn't hit for me. But I like that it showed their past history. Why would you show the Goldberg and Gunther video package? Why? It's not your like SmackDown. I get it. Goldberg is a legend and all that. It is still not been announced that it is Goldberg's last match, so you can't give an excuse that, oh, Goldberg is last match, so we are showing that. You could have easily get in Goldberg. Uh, you can easily have gotten in a Julia and Zelina like 5 minute face-to-face segment, because they are having a title match next week. But you have not really like set up, like you had what, two backstage segments, and one like Zelina won because of Julia and she attacked her. Like, that's not a feud. Like, that's just different segments happening in no particular order. So next week, I think it's probably going to be Julia winning. The thing is, it's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The the general WWE audience doesn't know her. Do you think that the Saudis will react to that match? Julia will probably win there, or maybe they'll do some bullshit shenanigans. Have Julia lose in like a disqualification or some like tights like pin situation, and then you have like a rematch at Evolution. Either they have this bullshit stuff that I said, or they're gonna straight up have Julia win, and either they don't make Evolution, or they still have a rematch which makes Evolution or SmackDown before Evolution, and you do Julia's first defense there. I just hope that Julia wins. Like, please do not try to artificially extend it till like maybe we need to get Zelina on the Evolution card. Like, please, Julia, if she gets the US title, I still don't know who she feuds with. Like, maybe you bring Nia down to the US title division, but you need more women there who can like straight up go up against Julia and are credible enough to like like if they go up against Julia, Julia gets stuff for her. Let's see what happens with that. So what happened was that Nia Jax attacked Tiffany and laid her out like pretty convincingly. Like, it was not like she hit her with like, on the back. So but then Naomi comes up, she wants to cash in, but then Nia stops her, and then Tiffany hits Naomi from the back. She falls on Nia Jax. One thing is, Tiffy is very bitchy in her promos. It kind of makes sense, but it kind of makes her look like a bully too. Well, but okay, the crowd is responding to her positively, so you can let that slide for now. Let's see what happens when she's up against like other baby faces like Jade or Bianca. And also, I get the story that they're trying to tell, because for the last year, Naomi went after Tiffany and Nia because of interference. She got the worst of them. Like, she went through hell. Now these two friends are fighting. She has the money in the bank which Tiffany had, and now she's trying to take advantage, but she's not able to. Like, it's a good story, but the thing is, we have seen so much of Tiffany and Nia that like them being involved with each other, they did not really have any matches together, that nobody really cares. Like, when Tiffany announced that she's going to face Nia in a last woman standing, there was nothing from the crowd. When Nia said that she wanted another match, the crowd booed. They don't really care about this. So I get that this is a story which is a good story, but we have had so much of it already that they've been so involved with each other that nobody really cares. And I do think what's going to happen next week is Naomi is going to try to interfere. Probably Bianca is going to return. This way, what they'll probably set up is Bianca versus Naomi at Evolution. You do that, you have Bianca win that, and maybe if Jade loses, you can have a Tiffany versus Jade versus maybe Bianca at SummerSlam, or maybe if Jade wins, you still have Tiffany versus Jade, but maybe Bianca is there, kind of like whoever wins in your match, you'll face me after SummerSlam. So you can set up something related to that, and there you finally have at SummerSlam, you have Naomi cash in and win the women's championship. And I think probably Tiffany is gonna face Trish Stratus at Evolution. I think that's the direction, and that's probably gonna happen at Evolution. So we had that. We had nothing from the SmackDown tag team division this week. Like, I am baffled. Like, you have 3 hours of television. You couldn't find like a minute for the division. Like, that has carried you for a while. Like, nothing from the SmackDown tag team. You just announced the Street Profits versus Wyatt Six for the World Tag Team Championship, while the story that you were building was that every team, like except DIY, wants to try to take down Street Profits. So why wasn't like Fraxium next against Wyatt Six? Why did like Wyatt Six get a title shot just by defeating Motor City? Like, you couldn't have done like a 1 minute backstage like promo where it would be like who will go up against the Wyatt Six, and maybe you could have all of them arguing, and Street Profits in the end say that enough, like we are the tag team champions, we are the flag bearers of this brand, and you know what, fuck you pussies, we'll go up against Wyatt Six, and you know what, we are defending champions. Motor City, you talked about Fraxium. Motor City, you talked about how we defended our titles against you only because there were interference. Okay, we'll defend it against Wyatt Six also, and maybe you all stay out of it, or and we'll prove that we are the real tag team champions. And then what happens? You could have that match, but have DIY interfere and maybe cause a disqualification, because like Motor City and Fraxium agree that we will not interfere. Let's see how you defend those titles. Like, I am booking the show better than you. Like, that shows how creatively bankrupt you are. You could have had that, but no, straight away announce that match, like, which we know is going to end up in a disqualification, because probably Fraxium, Motor City, DIY, they are going to interfere in some way. Like, what I said right now is such a good way to get into that match, and like, even like if a disqualification happens, you don't really mind it. Like, not even like 1 or 2 minutes for a segment. Then you had like no Andrade, which is fine, but no Phoenix. I do get like why the Phoenix storyline has been dropped, because they were gonna do like a Los Garza split, but then they probably decided that AAA would probably benefit, they will probably benefit, so they won the AAA Tag Team Championship. I don't know what they do with Phoenix next, because he's not been there for like the last two Smackdowns. So how do you put him on TV again? I do think the best way to put him on is just have him in a series of matches against Andrade. You don't need to do a best of 7. Just do like a best of 3. Like, what is a simple feud for Ray Phoenix? Like, Andrade comes, like like he asked Nick Aldis, like, you know what, uh, since I've come to the WWE, I've not had the best start. Like, like why am I not being put on the card? Like, what do I need to do? What happens then? Phoenix tries to like comes in and says, you know what, even I have had the same problems, but then just like, let's fight man to man, let's see who the best wrestler is. Like, Nick Aldis then says, good idea, sets up a match, and then maybe like Phoenix wins the first match due to like a roll up. Then Andrade says that you didn't really prove that you were one against me. Then you have a second match. Andrade wins the second match by like a roll up, and then at the third match, Phoenix wins, but with a clear win. Andrade like puts up Phoenix hands. That's the way you do stuff. Like, this is so easy. 3 hours you can do that stuff. And the thing is, now that SmackDown is going 2 hours on July 4th or 5th, next week is your last 3 hour SmackDown. So anyways, these guys are not going to get on TV, because USA Network, Many times they don't go into overtime, so it's going to be a hard out at after those 2 hours. Let's see what they do, but I do think they're probably going to put Phoenix into AA AAA. When they're going to put him there, they're going to be like go wrestle there on an excursion, and when they have a slot open for him, probably for like a Lucha Bros comeback, then they bring him back again until they do that. And probably same thing is going to happen with Andrade. Like they're going to send like, sorry Andrade, we don't find anything for you. We're not going to find anything in the future. So go and wrestle on AAA, which they're doing with Legado del Fantasma anyways now. And rest of the stuff, you had the Charlotte and Alexa Bliss stuff, which I actually liked, and the people liked, except the match, which went for a little bit too long. In the end, Charlotte won because Chelsea tapped out immediately. I would have liked it better because they were telling a story that Charlotte has not really won anything since WrestleMania. Like she lost to Tiffany, she lost the Money in the Bank qualifiers. She lost in the. She couldn't qualify in the Queen of the Ring after the Fatal 4-Way because Alexa won that. So you could have had this end in like a double DQ, like Alexa comes and then you have like a big brawl and it ends in a double DQ. So Charlotte doesn't win again. You could have had Chelsea win, that Alexa comes out but hits Chelsea. Referee sees that Chelsea wins, and you could have still ended up with the same thing that. You still could have ended with the same thing, that in the end it's kind of like Alexa trying to explain to Charlotte, or Alexa trying to shake Charlotte's hand, but then she walks away because the people did care about that. Like there was like boos there when Charlotte did that. So it's like people are interested in this because they've told a good story with Alexa and Charlotte since WrestleMania. But they had Charlotte win, so it kind of like ends like the losing streak like storyline there. But I do have hopes for them. At least they have properly built up this makeshift tag team, unlike others, like with just forms away. Like Natty and uh, Maxine are just together now. A tag team which has been built through on YouTube. So a vast audience doesn't even know that this tag team has actually been built up, but it has been happening on social media, which no one cares about their segments there. Apart from that, you had great matches. You had like even that segment, like the Randy, Sammy, Jay, Cody segment, which happened with Jay. Until he came to the ring, it was a normal entrance, but then it went on for too long when he came inside the ring, and Cody didn't say anything. Like it was supposed to be Cody talking about how his King of the Ring journey has been, his journey after coming to WWE, but he said nothing. You had Jay doing his entrance, which I'm like, you just lost your world title 11 days ago and you're doing this shit. And then you also had, Sammy coming out, you know, saying that he was the first guy to congratulate both when they won. And, this is my time now. Randy comes back. He says the same stuff he said to Cody last week. And then he says, Sammy is going to be world champion, just not this time. And the crowd did cheer for Sammy a lot. They cheered for Randy. They had a great match, probably the match of the night. But in the end, like the reversals, which I didn't expect, like Randy going in the corner, but then Sammy straight away going, like missing it. Sammy straight away going for the Helua kick, and then missing it. Then Randy going for the RKO, like Sammy reversing it, but in the end still getting the RKO. And in the end, Randy won the match. Like this is probably, in ring wise, you see, this is probably the best Randy Orton has looked, like ever in his career. Like since coming back in 2023, this is the best Randy Orton has been in the ring in his entire career. And Randy won straight away. I expected them to do like lean into, like I will do anything to like win the World WWE Championship. Like lean into that, like have Braun and Bronson like cost Sammy the match. Randy in the end hits an RKO. He can't like maybe he doesn't know that Sammy was got attacked because like his back is turned, and then hits an RKO, but he just kind of like looks at Braun and Bronson like, why are you here? Like, did you attack him and anything? Like just looks and takes the pin and just looks confused and everything. And then like you could have had stuff that because of their help you won. You didn't won because of yourself. But I think they didn't want that because maybe right now this is not the time to tease a Randy Orton heel turn because he's so over with the crowd. So maybe they're not doing that stuff right now. And you don't want another like legend in his twilight of his career being a babyface so that Cody gets booed again because of these oldies. So you had that, and Randy Orton has gone to the finals. Even Jay in his promo really didn't say anything. He was like, there's only going to be one of us. Oos, we were tag team champions and everything. So nothing really happened there. And you had LA versus Bronson. Crowd really got quiet in like the last like half an hour, 45 minutes of the show. I think they were tired. I do think they were really tired. I really like Wade Barrett as a commentator today, especially in the Chelsea versus Charlotte match. Like him talking about how beautiful the mask is. I like the rainbow color. Like him, like, Joe, and everything. Like he's so good as a heel commentator, so much better than Jerry Lawler was. Like you can live in nostalgia all you want. And you also had LA versus Bronson, which was a fine match. LA was smart. He came from the back, attacked Braun Breaker, attacked Bronson Reed, and then the match started. The match was fine. Nothing special happened. Only thing is that Bronson, in a way, has been getting booked, kind of like the way he was getting booked before he hit the tsunamis on Seth. Like LA got a lot of offense in the match. Like you could say LA had the upper hand, but if this was like the Bronson Reed, which had the feud with Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins before he got injured in the War Games match, like opponent wouldn't have gotten this much offense. Maybe he would have gotten like later, but like not like 50-50. The match is not going 50-50, which I'm kind of sad about. The thing is, clearly Braun Breaker is the star that they want to push. Bronson Reed is the heavy, even though like Braun Breaker is the head heavy of Seth Rollins. But you get like in the writer's mind, in Triple H's mind, whose position is what. But the thing is that I think Bronson Reed is getting the short end of the stick. But in the end, I like that he got heat back. Like Braun Breaker just speared the shit out of him. He hit another spear, like then started tweaking, and then Bronson Reed hit like what 3 or 4 tsunamis on him, and Wade Barrett with his usual tsunami. It was very great. I am glad that Reed got some of his heat back. Like he got pinned on Raw, he got some of his heat back. Could have liked the crowd reaction to be better, and it looks like LA Knight has been taken out for a while. So I do think there's going to probably be like a 6-man tag match at maybe they do like a 6-man tag match at the next Raw. Maybe they do it at Crown Jewel, like have Seth, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Penta. They do that there because you're gonna have Sami on the show. Like you cannot go to Saudi Arabia and not have Sami on the show. And maybe what happens is either like LA gets taken out for a while because he does need a break. Like he has been on Smackdown every week, like wrestling almost every week since months. So you maybe like have LA return there. It's not really that much. It's just a 1 week. Have LA return there. Maybe have Sammy like hit a Hiluva kick on Bronson Reed and win the match. Though I don't like Bronson Reed taking pins, but unless you have like a pin eater there, maybe that's why they kind of need like someone like an Ethan Page, like who can take pins and they do not get hurt because of it. So maybe have Sammy hit Bronson Reed, get a pin, fans go happy, because LA interferes, they kind of like not lose that much heat. But do you want to have Seth Rollins in his first match as a faction losing? So you can still have, that 6-man tag maybe there. Ethan Page can debut or something like. You cannot have them lose. Maybe you will have Penta take the pin. Something will happen. Like I can see that match happening there. I think this is probably leading to Rollins versus LA at Saturday night's main event. But then, do you have Roman return there? But I don't see Roman returning unless it's like a main event or like a big show. Like, are you gonna have Roman returns as a Saturday Night's main event where Goldberg has his retirement match, but then Roman is gonna return at SummerSlam, but then that can set up Seth and Roman at SummerSlam also. I don't know. It's very complicated. But then I do think what's probably gonna happen in the Cena versus Punk match is you're gonna see Seth Rollins interfere there, and that is probably gonna lead to Seth versus Punk at uh, SummerSlam, and that way you have Seth versus Punk, and there you have Roman return. The only problem is then what happens to LA Knight. I do think you're gonna still have the Seth versus LA Knight match at Saturday Night's main event, and probably what's gonna happen is Punk is gonna interfere. You're gonna have all these fucking distractions, and then maybe have Seth win that match, or maybe you introduce a new member there at Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't know. There's a lot of like confusing stuff because you need to protect people. But overall, not really a good episode for me. What did you think about the episode? Tell me in the comment section. If you like this type of content, like this video, share and subscribe. If you don't, then share it with those who do. My social media accounts, which are my Twitter/X and my Instagram accounts, are in the description, so go follow me on that. My UPI ID link, which is shareboy@okicici, is in the description, so go donate any amount of money which can help me make YouTube a permanent career option. So that was it for me for right now. So thank you, goodbye, alvida.